All right, 6 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this morning. There was a story this morning. I think today is like National Infertility Day, or this is National Infertility Week, or something of that nation. And that's not where we're going with this conversation. I just want you to know that. But it brought up a conversation this morning that does kind of connect to our next guest. The conversation was this. If you don't have a child, for example, and you want to have a child, you might go to a restaurant and see other people with children and feel that little pain or that little pit and say, "Oh my gosh, I wish I had children," right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe you want grandchildren, and you're seeing children who are your children's age, like 30 or so, and they're saying, "Gosh, how come we don't have any grandchildren?" That kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But when you were single, you might have gone to a restaurant and seen, couples out, and you said, how come I'm not having lunch with somebody? How come I'm not having a date right now? Mm-hmm. Right? We all do that, right? We all think we look at other people and think vicariously, that would make me happy if I could have that. Well, maybe not. Maybe it can be fine. Tonia DeCosimo is going to talk to us. I hope I said her name right. She has written a book called Single and Not Settling. It's a journey of surviving the dating world. It's a memoir, and she herself has a list of credentials that are also worthy of being jealous of. She's a journalist for The Date Mix, a consultant to the fields of marketing, publishing, and sales. Over the past 25 years, she has built and managed several companies, including her own, and she's a member of the National Association of Female Executives. You should be on that, Robin.
Oh.
It should be your female executive.
Well, thank you.
Good morning, Tonia. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Good morning. How are you?
Where's that accent? That's a Long Island accent, isn't it? Where are you from?
How can you tell?
Because I'm from there. I recognize what I used to sound like. That's what I used to sound like. People say I still sound like that.
You do.
Where are you?
Well, I grew up in Manhasset, and I now live in East Islip, out east.
Oh, okay.
And my business is in Farmingdale.
Oh, nice. Okay, I know the area very well. Yeah. I have a cousin who lives up in Islip, and she called me by video phone one day, not knowing that she did it, and I could see her desk. And I said, "Linda, turn the phone around. I can't see you." I said, "What do you mean you can't see me? Are you supposed to see me?" I said, "If you turn the phone around, I'll see you."
Funny.
So oh gosh, am I supposed to ask how old you are? You're single and not settling. You're single, right?
No, now.
Oh, you're married.
See, now I'm ruining the end of the book. I'm married now. Yeah, I got married at 44, and I am now 48. So
good. 4 years under the belt. Did everything you think about being married come true?
I never gave up hope, and I knew one day I would be married to the right person, because anybody could be married. I really believe that. It's marrying the right person. It's marrying the right person.
Right.
And I had a few marriage proposals, and I actually did cancel a wedding 3 weeks before the big day.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So, yeah.
What revelation, can I get personal? What revelation did you come to that said this is not going to work?
I think the longer you're with someone, it's either the better it is or the worse it is. But no, in this case, I just realized we were not a match, and that if we did get married, we would probably wind up divorcing. And I just didn't think it was right, so I made that decision. Let me not do this to myself or him, because it just wouldn't be fair. And I decided 3 weeks before, let me just cancel it. It was a very, very difficult decision. I mean, how many times do we hear of somebody, they say, I knew the moment I was walking down the aisle that I was marrying the wrong person, but they go through with it anyway. Yeah, and then they're divorced and they have kids, and so it was a difficult decision, but it was the right one.
So were you trying to live the life that you saw your parents have? Is today's world so different that life, the meatball, I read a little bit of the material from me that was provided to me, the meatball arguing thing at the end of the meal. I love that, by the way. That's a good description. But I mean, did Did what you observed your parents have influence what you wanted?
Absolutely, absolutely. My parents were married 51 years. Unfortunately, my dad passed from cancer. But listen, was their relationship perfect? No, but they stuck together. There was mutual respect. I had a very nice upbringing, and I wanted that family. I wanted that connection. I wanted that love. I wanted children. And sometimes your life just doesn't turn out the way you plan.
Right.
You know, I married someone who was divorced and has 2 kids, so I have 2 stepchildren now. I don't have any biological kids, and, you know, things happen, but I have wonderful stepchildren, and my husband's wonderful, and you just never know.
Well, you also were able to make special bonds with other single women in your quest to find someone to be your soulmate, and that's pretty unusual.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll never forget my mother signed me up for a church function, and I said to her, I'm not going to this. You got to be crazy. And she said, just go. And she's like, you never know who you're going to meet. Well, I wound up meeting, you know, a wonderful woman who's now my best friend for years, and she went through the same situation that I went through, and just so many bonds with other women that can understand what I went through because they've been through the same thing. You know, they're over 40 now, still single, some of my close friends, you know, some of them close to 50, and it's just not easy out there. But, you know, I also think we're a little too picky. And the older we get, the more set in your ways you become, and you really have to give people a chance. And we're too quick to judge, so that's a problem.
Yeah. I often think that men should look at marriage as best as they can the way women look at marriage, because I think we look at it 2 different ways, and I think the female side of it has a better grip on it, if you know what I mean. You've got an understanding, and I'm not saying no man has this, but I think most men don't have this. But women seem to understand that this is something that, puts us a notch above the rest of the animal kingdom. I hate when people say, "Well, that's not what the animals do." Well, we're not animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate when people do that. But so you found somebody. Is the book written for those women, or men and women, who are still looking?
You know, listen, I geared it more towards women because I am a woman, but I think men can learn a lot from this book as well. You know, I don't have a PhD. I'm not a therapist. This is my journey, my advice, my tips based on what I went through, and also, you know, what my friends went through, and women that I just meet everywhere. You know, oh, I can't find anyone. Oh, you know, this, that. Oh, the men are this, the men are that. You know, everyone complains, but it's funny because we're all looking for that connection. I mean, love is universal, and we all want that, but yet people aren't finding it.
But Tonia, you know? The thing I always say when people say all men are this way or all women are this way, it doesn't matter. You're only looking for one. You don't.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what all men are. Mm-hmm. The one you find is that all that matters.
Right.
And we all do this about all groups. By the way, we all say, you know, all people from Long Island talk like Tonia. And
Right.
Well, that's probably true. That one right there.
How does the effect of like these women that are famous, they're, you know, politicians, they're actresses, they're singers, they all say women power, and it's like they're the epitome of everything and men are secondary. Don't you just hate that?
Yes, and if, you know, you read my quote in the beginning of the book about women power, look, I'm all for women, I'm all for men. I mean, I get the whole women power thing, but, you know, men need women, women need men. I mean, that's the way I feel, you know, so we should all get along, and we shouldn't stereotype, and not one group is better than the next, and, you know, we just have to learn to communicate and listen to one another, and, again, I keep saying, not be too quick to judge, because that's what we all do. And you see, I'm not going to get into politics, but you see, we're all judging one another. I mean, why can't people just get along and learn to communicate and listen to the other person's, views?
Well, plus we're Americans, so in America, women and men are kind of equal as far as that goes. Maybe socially we've got a little more progress to do, but we're nowhere as far back as some of the Mideast countries. And oh my gosh, I mean, so the way women are treated in some other countries is horrible. So they're the ones who need the women power movements.
Right. But, women today, again, we're making our own money. We're very independent. And I think in a lot of ways that does scare men. You go on a first date and, you're talking about everything that you do and the money you make and this and that. Some men are intimidated. I mean, listen, some men will marry you just for your money also. Mm-hmm. But I think that women today are intimidating. And also, you don't even know who pays anymore on the first date. I have friends that say, "Oh, am I supposed to pay on the first date?" And I look at them and I say,
"No,
absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not."
I'll tell you. Okay, I can give advice for that one. One of the things in the book, you have a list of things you should never tolerate, and I agree 100%. Somebody who's a liar, somebody who's I don't know how you do infidelity, because if it hasn't happened to you yet, then it's something in the past. I don't know.
Yeah.
Emotional abuse, physical abuse. Obviously, you don't want them in your life. Substance abuse. Yeah, don't bother. Financial instability. That can be fixed, though. I mean, men go through all kinds of problems with money and then finally make it.
Yeah.
Cheapness or lack of generosity. Yeah, that's a good one. Dishonesty and unkindness. That's kind of the same as lying. Extreme moodiness. Yeah, you do not want a moody man. No.
Or a moody woman.
No, and moody women are expected, but moody men, you just don't want him. And a bad temper. Yeah, you don't want that. So.
I've been on dates with, I don't mean to interrupt, such mood swings with these men. And I'm saying to myself, just like you said, I could see that with a woman, but not with a man. I mean, highs and lows and
right.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Faith is very important to you also.
Absolutely, yes.
You mean religious faith?
Yes.
Okay.
Faith in God.
Yeah. Absolutely. Listen, if I didn't have my religion or a faith in God, I mean, I've been through some tough times, as everybody has.
Yeah.
But my faith is what kept me going.
So would you date somebody who was not your same religion?
Yes. I mean, I'm Catholic, but I've dated Jewish men also. I just think that having faith and believing in God, to me, there's only one God. We all have different religions, but there's only one God.
Yeah, it would be hard. I think it would be hard. I'm trying to empathize with what you're saying. It would be hard, I think, for somebody who believes, who's Catholic, for example, to not at least have another Christian. Although I know many mixed marriages with Jewish and Catholic. I know a lot of them, and they seem to be okay. But I think it's respecting each other too. That's part of it.
Absolutely. But I just have to say, Jews and Italians are very similar.
Yeah.
So
they are.
except the Italians have the better food. The Jews have the bagels, but that gefilte fish has got to go. That's horrible stuff.
I laugh with my Jewish friends. I said, "You come to me for the meatballs on Sunday, and I'll come for you for matzo balls on Monday."
Oh, there you go.
There's not even a comparison. Meatballs wins every time. I'm sorry, Rabbi.
I like a good matzo ball soup, though.
Do you really?
You always indicate, though, that people should also go beyond the physical, because sometimes what the physical is, you've got to be beautiful inside and not just outside.
Absolutely. I mean, but let's face it. You look at someone, he's so good looking. You're attracted to him. There's chemistry going on. And then you get to know the inner person, and they're horrible. vice versa. You're not so attracted to someone like when you first meet them. Oh, I don't know if he's my type. I'm not physically attracted to him. But then you get to know the inner person, and you are attracted to them.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness for that. Do you know the women's thing a couple of weeks ago, where they had their list of things they were complaining about with men, had nothing to do with legislation. They didn't want any laws changed. They just wanted men's attitudes changed. And when I read that, I thought, well, you're describing the kid or the boy who you didn't want. You're describing the guy who was polite, the guy who was they're describing the nice guy who never gets a date. That's who they're describing.
Right. And it's funny because some men today, they don't open the car door for you. They don't walk you to your door, which you shouldn't have anybody walk you to the door the first couple of dates anyway, because you don't want them to know where you live. But, I'm saying into that. I mean, what happened to chivalry? I mean, what happened to letting a man treat you like a gentleman? What happened to treating the woman like a lady?
Exactly.
Well, and
where
part of it, I think, has to do with social illusions or social lies, maybe, where a guy says, oh, especially a young guy who's trying to figure out what does a woman want, and he says, oh, she doesn't want me to open that door. She's going to think I'm being condescending or something, so he won't do it.
Right.
Yeah, so...
And then he gets in trouble.
That's why I think your book, even though it's written for women primarily, I think a guy, this is what I was trying to say earlier, that a guy should look at marriage the way a woman does, and then he'll have a better understanding of what to expect and what is actually... I think God is a genius, and he knew exactly what we needed from each other. We're not supposed to be two of the same, and I'm not trying to. There's nothing with homosexuality, but I mean, he wants you and I to have contributing to each other and not doubling up on each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
But everything that you've written about in your book is true to life. You haven't really fictionalized anything.
I tried to be, as honest as possible, and it's my story, and I wanted to tell the truth. So, if I could help one person, it's worth it. I mean, it's so difficult out there because nobody knows how to act. I think that's the problem. Nobody knows how to act anymore, and we think too much, and we try to change who we really are. And because of society, things are different in society, so I have to change with society. Be true to yourself.
Oh, I love that. And I really agree with you on your statement, nobody knows how to act anymore. I really have observed that, and that's really frustrating.
So tell me about speed dating. What was that like?
Oh, my God, horrible. No, listen, you have to try everything. I mean, speed dating, that's exactly what it is. You're talking to someone for literally, 5 minutes, and it's crazy. I mean, you're going from one to the next person. And I said to myself, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. But I wanted to try it all. I wanted to try speed dating.
We had a speed dating guest on, two ladies, and they were telling us what kind of questions you should ask as a woman. And one is, what kind of job do you have? How much money do you make? Those are the speed dating questions. And then they asked me, what question would you ask? And I said, do you have any diseases? And,
yeah.
Oh, they didn't like my question.
Yeah, like they're going to be honest and say, yes, I do,
right? Speaking of that, you do talk about safety in the book, because when you're getting to know new people, you have to make sure that they really are safe to be with and not some serial killer or somebody that would do you harm.
Yeah. Again, dating is scary. I mean, when you go out on a date with someone, if you get up to go to the ladies' room, or for the men's room for that matter, take your drink with you. And we forget to do that because what does that say to the other person? I don't trust you. I have to take my drink with me. But who cares? I'd rather
Right.
be safe than sorry, you know?
Well, sure. You never know about roofies and things like that. They might slip in there.
Yeah. I say, like I said to you before, don't let somebody know where you live. And I'd say until at least your fifth date. Don't give out your last name so quickly. Always meet in a public place.
Really?
Don't post photos of yourself on, social media in front of your car or your license plate is showing. It's just crazy stuff that you have to think about.
Let me ask you this: how many gallons of milk should you buy at the dairy barn before you pick up on Franco?
Tell me.
I'm looking in your book right here. It says you met Franco at the dairy barn.
Yeah, exactly.
So what'd you do? You went to get some milk, and there was Franco, and you said, "Oh my gosh, I got to get some more milk."
Yeah, that's a true story, and it's a funny story.
It is, yeah.
If anybody's been to a dairy barn, there's two sides. So he was on one side, and I was on the other side, and here we are looking at each other. And it just so happened every morning we were there at the same time, and he eventually asked me out, and I went out with him.
Oh, he didn't work at the dairy barn. Oh, he didn't work there. He was the customer.
Right, he was a customer. He didn't work there.
Oh, how'd you get a message to him? How did you get a message to him?
What happened was, he said to me, he was pointing at me, he's like, pull over, making a sign to pull over. He's like, so I pulled over and in the back of the dairy barn, and he said, listen, he's like, I think you're beautiful, and I was like, I think you're hot. I mean, I said, and he's like, let's go out for a drink, and we did, and we dated for a little bit. I learned how to make mozzarella from him, and that was worth it.
You learned how to pronounce it from him too.
That's right.
All right. You were fun. This is a fun guest.
It's not mozzarella. It's mozzarella.
I heard you.
The owner of the station is Italian, and that's how he pronounces it too.
I know. I get corrected all the time. All right. Single and not settling. I love you. You're awesome, Tonia.
I love you guys. Thank you.
I have a copy of Tonia's book. Call me if you want the copy that I got here, and the rest of us have to go buy it. Do you have a website?
I do, ToniaDeCosimo.com, and that's ToniaDeCosimo.com.
And you got 5-star reviews on Amazon. That's awesome. So good for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
We had fun with the interview, but I truly think that there's a serious purpose that this will serve. The young lady who's walking through the bookstore who sees this title is going to pick up some good pointers from somebody who's been around the block once, not a lot, just once.
Yeah.
and I think it'll help them out. I really do. I look at young ladies and I always think, I hope you're with a guy that's good to you because you're too good.
Yeah.
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 Guys can be mean too.
Never give up hope. Just always remain optimistic. And I know sometimes, you get down and, why is this happening to me? Why am I single?
Yeah.
But there's somebody out there for you, the right person.
Good advice. Tonia, thank you so much for being on the air with us.
Thank you so much.
All right, we will be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. With the Friday deadline looming in Congress to avoid a government shutdown, money for a border wall is a